I had to look through various websites to even believe what I was reading. 54% tariffs on imports from China. 54%. And that means my business is fucking done. That means I have just lost my business because of him. This is a tax on me. So now I suddenly have a 54% tax on my product just to bring it into the United States. A product that I cannot make in the United States. There are no factories to go into, right? So typically tariffs are used when there is manufacturing in a country. You put that tax on it to retain your manufacturing here in the US. That ship has sailed. Our manufacturing left starting in the 70s. So my borosilicate glass sippy cups to help families avoid plastic? No, that's over. Is Trump going to build me a $10 million factory for my borosilicate glass sippy cups and every other product in the US? No. Nothing is made without raw materials from another country, and 54%? That just put me out of business. Trump is literally just killing small businesses for no reason. Tell me how I'm supposed to suddenly make that up. Tell me. Are my customers going to pay $60 for a sippy cup? Fuck no. There's no one that will make it here in the US. So I don't know where we're going with this, but yeah, it's not good. And everyone's suffering. Every single company in the US imports something from somewhere else because that's just how the world works. It's like if you have a kitchen, do you grow everything in your backyard? Do you grow salt? Do you grow flour? Do you grow olives to make olive oil? No. You can't. You can grow some veggies, but you can't make everything in-house. And that is like an analogy for the United States. You need to be able to trade with your partners because different countries have different specialties. This is stupid. That's going to kill small businesses like mine. My business, I'm fucked. It's done. This is bad. And not just mine, like everybody's, like not just mine, like a lot of people's small businesses, over.
MAGA supporters are losing their jobs, businesses, social securities, and even their health care. Now they're regretting their choices really bad because Trump doesn't seem to care about any of the promises he made them.
I just need you to know that if you're an American citizen and you are in any capacity defending the ICE thugs on the street, snatching people and putting them in unmarked cars and taking them to undisclosed locations, and you're defending that in our so-called free country with a so-called First Amendment, you're a fascist. Like, just understand that. Don't try to dress it up. Don't try to dress it up. Don't try to call yourself something you're not. Don't try to pretend that you care about freedom or our Constitution or the Bill of Rights. Just admit you're a brown shirt. There are actually clowns that are on the internet right now trying to defend the plainclothes police officers or ICE officers snatching that Rumesa woman off the street and being like, well, they were wearing a lanyard. Like, get the okay. I've been stopped by plainclothes police officers twice since I've lived in New York. And both times were absolutely terrifying because I didn't know who they were. And yes, it is reasonable to believe that when you see a police officer, they should have the uniform on. So when I got stopped by two police officers that were like, hey, come here, show me your bag, because they thought that I was terrified because I didn't know who they were. And I didn't even know if their badges were real. Because when I said, who are you? They were like, we're police officers. I'm like, how come you're not wearing uniforms? They're like, here's our badge. How do I know if it's real? No. This is crazy. This is crazy. This is so unacceptable. And it's not just Rumesa. There's been a third person, you guys. A third person, somebody in Alabama who they also just snatched off the street. And by the way, the terror organizations that are doing this are Canary Mission and Betar, which is like a Zionist hate group that is so hateful. Get ready for this. They are so hateful, and they're such psychopaths doing doxing and terror campaigns to people that the ADL actually put them on their list. You know it's bad when the trash bag ADL, which is fully in service of just protecting Zionism, is like, you guys are going too far.
I remembered something about Donald Trump from college that I've literally never heard anybody talk about. And since he has just dropped the news that he's going to charge migrants $998 a day if they do not self-deport, it came rushing back to my forehead. When I was in college, I worked for Vice HBO, and they made a documentary that had, I believe his name is Ben, that was the reporter, went to Dubai to go to Donald Trump's golf resort over there to interview and look into the living conditions of the migrant workers for Donald Trump there. And despite the fact that they just lived in complete squalor, one of the biggest things was that Donald Trump invited these migrants to come work for him in Dubai. But once getting there, he seized all of their documents. So their passports, their birth certificates, all of that. Then he said that in order for them to get them back, they would have to buy them back from him. However, he charged them daily rent to live in these like concrete rooms where there was just like 10s, 20s, 30s of them in one room, no bathroom, one sink. And the rent that he charged them daily was more than they made in their wages daily. Meaning every single day that they worked there, they were actually just getting more and more in debt. And since they didn't have any of their documentation, they couldn't leave to exit Dubai or go back to their countries or anything. They couldn't move. And if they were in debt to just live in that space, they absolutely could not afford to get back that documentation, thus creating his own form of slavery. And this is like very real. Like, this is open. Go Google it. I'm going to attach here what it is on YouTube. So really, he's just doing it again, right? So he's telling these migrants that they would have to pay upwards of, who knows what, I think they said it could add up to like $1 million because it's retroactive. So these migrants who do not have citizenship, they are going to be in debt to the US government upwards of $1 million. They will obviously never be able to pay that back. So how exactly would they then pay off those fines? When we talk about Donald Trump, we deal a lot in like theory, right? Or like what we have seen historically happen. But like, this is him. This is how he has his business model. But rather than, a Trump resort, it's the entire country of America.
This is the Trump store inside the Trump Hotel, and my question is, how many things inside of here are made in America? The classic Make America Great Again hat, made in the USA. USA sticker and USA on the shirt. USA, 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 USA. Ooh, look at that bomber jacket. China.
Comes from China.
Now the mugs are where things got interesting. This mug says designed in Oregon, but made in
China.
What about the classic Stanley Cup? Made in China, designed in Oregon. Now this bottom shelf, I don't know what to think about it. This mug says designed in Oregon, but I don't see where it's made. So on this one, I took the price tag sticker off the bottle, and there it is. Made in China. There's no way the sticker is strategically placed over the Made in China part, right? Let's take a look at all of them. Made in China covered, another Made in China covered. This white one, Made in China covered. Every single one of them had Made in China covered, but designed in Oregon open. Are these intentionally covered? Just for fun, I changed the sticker on this one to be over the designed in Oregon part. At least one of them won't keep someone guessing. Not everything was either China or USA. This Las Vegas hat was made in Bangladesh, and this woman's golf hat was made in Vietnam.
This is probably the most infuriating and disgusting fact about Elon Musk that I've ever learned. Did you know in 2021, the UN's World Food Program came out and said that only a fraction of like the global elite's wealth could solve world hunger? And Elon Musk said, okay, I'll solve it if you could do it for $6 billion. I'll give you $6 billion. So the WFP was like, fantastic. They spent all this time putting together this proposal, and they thought found a way that Elon Musk's $6 billion that he pledged to donate could solve world hunger for 43 million people. He would basically keep 43 million people from starving to death. And so they showed him it and they're like, see, we can do it. Fantastic. And you know what he did? He did not donate that money. Instead, he donated the money to his own charity instead of the World Food Program to get a tax write-off. But he's definitely now all of a sudden working tirelessly for the good of the American working class man. Also, the Cheeto buried his ex-wife, who is the mother of three of his children, first wife, in his golf course so that he could designate it as a tax write-off because it's a cemetery. He's also working tirelessly for the good of the American working class.
Our president is showing signs of extreme somatic distress. Look at this image from a book called Emotional Anatomy, published in 1985. It does look just like him. This image is not about the weight of the body. It is about the way that emotions shape our organs, our tubes, our inner life, our relationship to gravity, and how that feeling in our body then creates a way that we know and feel ourselves. So a couple pages later in this book, there's this amazing chart of some of the psychological connections to a collapsed and swollen form. Collapse where the chest caves in on itself and the body swells out. This is a form that seeks a body to be in anyone else's but their own. Always wants to be big yet denies childishness. Fails to deliver even as he increases promises. Is caught between impressing others and possessing them. Some of these things on this chart, which I'll post at the end of this video: chameleon, pretender, puffed out, inflated, manipulative, pretentious, invasive, tends to take over, grandiose, dissatisfied, self-absorbed, narcissistic, seductive, makes social excitement, sees possible and tries to join, exploitative, inferior, inflamed, futurizing. He fears being small and empty, a lack of belonging. Some of the psychological characteristics: manic, depressive, narcissistic, impulse-driven, grandiose, and addictive personality. Denies their own needs, adultified child, makes you feel you need him, but in fact he needs you. Some of the ways that if this person was my client, I would work with them would be to include like compression, showing the boundaries of the body wall, to organize those boundaries, to know the difference between self and other.
Autism destroys families, kids who will never pay taxes. They'll never hold a job, never go out on a date.
Pre-K pause, autistic teacher here that's married with a master's degree in clinical social work, and I definitely didn't ruin my family's lives. What an incredibly problematic thing you just shit out of your mouth. First of all, I would think that someone in your position would know that autism is not a disease. It's a neurodevelopmental condition that falls under a spectrum and presents differently in everyone that has it. What you just said further harms, stereotypes, and stigmatizes people with autism. Many people with autism will date, have jobs, and oh my god, of course, pay taxes. And those of us who cannot are not less than. We just need more support than others. But what I really have an issue with is use that people who are autistic ruin families. Autism does not ruin families, but you know what does? Cutting off a whale's head using a chainsaw in front of your children and then taking that whale head, putting it on top of your goddamn car and then driving it for 5 hours while the juices leak on your children inside. That shit right there, that'll ruin a family. Or no, cheating on your wife so often and gaslighting her so much that it sends her into a mental health crisis. You know what else will ruin a family? Assaulting your child's 23-year-old babysitter. That'll ruin a family. Yeah, autism can be stressful. Many conditions out there are. People who are autistic are not diseased. We are not less than. While some of us might need more support than others, we are not a fucking burden. You shouldn't need a pre-K teacher to tell you that.
This is the biggest insider trading scheme in stock market history. The 90-day tariff pause was leaked on Twitter one day before the actual announcement. However, the White House denied it because their insider traders were not yet positioned to take advantage. In this graph, you can clearly see where the insiders positioned their calls before the official announcement was made. These people made billions, if not tens of billions of dollars. This is possibly the single largest act of blatant corruption we have ever witnessed in the US government.
Wait, what was that? If you make a product in America, you don't actually have to pay the tariff. Oh, well, that was a big lie, and he knows it's a big lie, and I can prove it using an easy example, this 100% American-made Florida tangerine right here. See, Charlie is counting on you not thinking about the fact that, yeah, if something's 100% made in America, that exact item won't get a tariff on it, but the entire supply chain and how it's made and all the materials and all of the other parts of it are going to go up in price, right? Let's take a look at this Florida tangerine, right? It grows on a tree, you pick it off. Why would there be a tax on that? Why would there be a tariff on that? Well, what about the hoses for the irrigation to bring water to this tangerine? What about the tractor that's used as these are put into the back of a tractor and then driven off to the supply area so they can be packaged? What about the bags, the netting that these are put in, right? Is the netting made in America? You know, when you buy tangerines at the grocery store and they have that little plastic netting around it, 10%. It went up at least 10%, the price of just that netting alone. Where's the label made that goes on that netting, Charlie? And then let's go talk about the rest of the supply chain. The truck that you needed to go put this tangerine at the grocery store. Every single part of that truck, were they all made in America? Because now if anything goes wrong with that truck, that part's going to need to get replaced, which means maintenance costs are going to go up because that part goes up. So now they're going to go pass that on to the actual seller of the tangerine, who's going to pass it on to the buyer. Once we get to the grocery store itself, are all the light bulbs made in America, Charlie? All those fluorescent light bulbs hanging over everybody's head. What about the shelving units? What about the refrigeration units that are used in the produce section, Charlie? What about all of the other different parts of that building itself of the grocery store? Is there anything that might need to be replaced in the near future that isn't made in America? Because all of them went up at least 10% because we put a 10% tariff on the entire world at the minimum, and at the maximum, it is percentages that we can't even imagine because they were imagined by ChatGPT as they were handed off to college students that you spent the last 4 years distracting from going into their classes while you stood out in a tent and yelled, "No, it's the wokes and DEI that are causing all these problems, Charlie." And Charlie, I'm even talking about something very simple like a tangerine that's grown right here in Florida. I'm not even getting into anything more complicated like a t-shirt, Charlie, because I know for a fact that your t-shirt costs went up because Turning Point USA, the organization that you run that is funneling billionaire money to make sure that these kids keep voting to lower taxes somewhere along the line and destroy the world and maybe conquer Greenland or some shit, that organization that you run uses Gildan t-shirts. And Gildan t-shirts, the blanks that you then get screen printed, those are not made here in America. Where are your t-shirts made, Charlie? They're made in Latin America and Southeast Asia. So your t-shirt costs have gone up. Your costs are going up. You don't buy American. You don't use American labor. You just use American voters. And then you turn to them and tell them the money's on the dresser and it's never there.
Tricking so many Americans into believing that getting rid of the Department of Education is a good thing has got to be one of the most heinous crimes against Americans. The marginal dollars that you think you're gonna save, which, by the way, you're not. What a joke. They f***ing played you so hard. Education, access to education, access to resources that enable education is one of the greatest gifts we can give ourselves. To strip that away from people, it's disgusting. I'm smiling, but it's not funny, and I actually genuinely feel bad for those people. This is not one of those like dancing on your grave kind of things. No, I feel so bad for you.
Hey, Donald Trump is crashing the economy on purpose. He's not doing this on accident or because he's stupid, even though we all like to think that he is. He's doing this for a reason. Number one, if it's too expensive or more expensive for other countries to import their goods here, it's going to eventually force America to do more in terms of production and manufacturing and all that. Eventually, not immediately. And in the meantime, while the stocks are crashing and people can't afford the goods that they're used to buying, all his friendly billionaire investor friends are going to pick up every little morsel that they can so that in 2 years, 3 years, they've already got the goods, they've got the properties, they've got the industry, they've got the businesses. They've got the stocks, and when things pick up again, oh my God, they're more wealthy. It's so insane to think that a billionaire who is working alongside the world's richest man wants to see the lower class and the middle class become better off. It's just insane to believe that. Donald Trump is doing this on purpose because you, a layperson, if the stock market's crashing, you're going to sell before it hits nothing. Wealthy people, on the other hand, are going to hold it, and then when it's low, they're going to buy more of it. This is what we saw with GameStop. Do you not remember that? This is all a ploy. And furthermore, if he crashes the economy, if he pulls the stock markets way down, if people start freaking out and protesting and they can't afford their groceries or their bills and they can't afford their housing, really seems like we need the president to step in and help this country, doesn't it? It's going to give him way more power than he needs or deserves. This is a ploy. Everybody's falling for it. I don't know.
I love this for you. I love this. Nice. I love this for you. I love to see you fail. I love to see your family be affected and hurt because you voted for Trump. Yeah, I voted for Trump. Absolutely. Did I know he was going to increase the tariffs? Yes, I did. However, I thought that the infrastructure would be set up prior for small business to come back to America and manufacture in America. So to wish ill on someone and to love the fact that they're suffering, to love the fact that their family is being negatively affected because I didn't vote the same way that you did is fucked up. It really is. It shouldn't matter. Anyone that enters my life, I'm going to judge you of who you are, how you are as a human being. Are you kind? Are you polite? Are you sincere? That's how I judge you, not who you voted for. I've got far left-leaning friends. I got far right-leaning friends. It doesn't matter to me. I like you based on who you are. But to see someone hurt and their business fail and their family be affected because they didn't vote the way you did, it's fucked up. I'm sorry, a lot of you are fucked up. I'm sorry. We should all care about each other regardless of who we voted for. I'm sorry. I hope you guys can be better people. Good luck to you guys.